Right, in this video we're going to talk about how we recognize the trig graphs, because some of your homework will ask you to determine what graph is what. Now let's remember, as we went through the graphs, what we said about each graph. So when we did the sine of theta, we said that it starts at the midline. And it looks like this. All right. Then we said the cosine of theta starts at the top, or the bottom if it's flipped over. So it looks generally like that. And then we said the tangent of theta looks like a snake, and it starts at the origin, so it starts at the midline too. And then the cosecant function is the reciprocal of this one, so it has a vertical asymptote on the y-axis if it's not shifted. And on these recognizing the graphs, they never shift them. They will flip them over, but they won't shift them. The secant function starts with a point on the y-axis. And then the cotangent function also has a vertical asymptote on the y-axis. But it looks like, in general, a decreasing snake, whereas these look like happy faces and frowny faces. So this one looks like this, but with a vertical asymptote, and then a frowny face, and then this one starts here, and then looks like this. Okay? So, let's look at them. So, this one we know is either going to be a cosecant function or a secant function. So I think about it and I say, well, look, what is this? My y-axis is a vertical asymptote. So this one is going to be the cosecant of x. All right? Now look at this one. And it's one of the snake-looking things. Now notice they didn't give us the whole, usually we see it like this. And sometimes they'll do that. They won't give you this part of the graph. But you know it's a snake-looking thing. And look, it starts at the midline. So you know that this is the tangent of x. Okay, so these two you can recognize as either the tangent or the cotangent. Now you can't judge just by it's going an increasing function here and a decreasing function here, because I'm going to show you one in a second that looks different. All right, then this one is either the sine or the cosine function, and we look and we say, oh, it starts at the top, so this has to be the cosine of x. Then coming up here, this one is going to be either the cotangent or the tangent, and of course we've already had the tangent, but so we know that this is a cotangent. But notice that the y-axis is a vertical asymptote. So that tells us that it is the cotangent of x, because the cotangent has a vertical asymptote on the y-axis. And then this one is going to be either the sine or the cosine, and it starts at the midline. So that's going to be the sine of x. And then this one, of course, is the only one that we have left, but it has a point on the y-axis. So that tells you that it is the secant of x. Now, sometimes they do try to trick you. So they'll give you, and the ones that they usually try to trick you on are the tangent and the cotangent. So if they give you this, this is a cotangent of x, because see, the vertical asymptote is the y-axis. So this is the cotangent of x, but it's an increasing function because there's a negative in front of it. And so when you're trying to recognize the graphs, what you're looking at is, where does it start? Does it start with a vertical asymptote, or does it start with a point? Okay? Does it start with on the midline, or does it start with a vertical asymptote? And then on this one, does it start at the midline, or does it start at the top? All right? So that's how you recognize these trig graphs.